Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jobadiah Christensen, and today I'm making a battle report on the Ninth Age tabletop fantasy game called, well, it's called Ninth Age. There you go, I just said it. Alright, it's gonna be one of those days. Anyway, so I have been playing more games than what I've made reports. I just, kind of, I often forget. I get caught up in the battle and I forget to take screenshots, and then if I wait too long after the battle, I can't remember what happens, of course. So this, as you can see by the title, it's from the UB Crippling Rides 9 tournament, and it was match 3. I didn't make a video for match 1 or 2, but probably you couldn't really learn anything from match 1 or 2 that I didn't keep making the mistakes of match 3. So really not a big deal. UB just refers to Universal Battler, which is a way you can play Ninth Age, if you don't have Axe, can't play in person, which right now in the USA and around the world, it's hard to play in person. So a lot of us are playing on Universal Battler. I know it's not for everyone, but yeah, it helps me get more games rather than playing in person. And especially because you can save games and come back to them, which I often have to do sometimes. So, all right. So I have been playing Kingdom of Equitaine in this tournament just because on Universal Battler, it's a lot easier to just try out new armies and new lists. I have been assembling my Kingdom of Equitaine army, and I've been painting it, but it takes me a very long time. It takes me like 2 months just to do one unit. I just finished in June, or early June, or no, I think it was actually early July. I just finished a unit of 40 Peasant Crusaders, and I'd been working on them for about 2 months, and that's 2 months of I don't have much time, so that's like one day a week painting for like 2 hours, and that's what that amounted to. So, or actually, I probably painted for more than 2 hours one day a week because I'm pretty slow. I played against Rasmus, and he was playing the Highborn Elves, which is I have some comments on them, which I don't know if I'll share. So here we go. All right. Anyway, this is my list, not a conventional Kingdom of Equitaine list. I'm still trying it out. This is yeah. Anyway, so I have mounted Duke on a warhorse, Fortress of Faith for my shield. I put Kingslayer on my lance because Kingslayer is rapidly becoming my most favorite weapon enchantment. Basalt Infusion, Might, and Grail Oath. So this guy, if he charges, let me see, Dukes have 4 attacks. Yeah, Dukes have 4 attacks. Might gives him +1 attack when he charges, so he's 5 attacks. So he's 5 strength, 7 attacks when he charges. And if he causes an unsaved wound, he gets an additional attack. And then with Kingslayer, if he's charging a character or a unit that has a character that he's touching, he'll get an additional attack and strength for each character. So I didn't deploy him right in this game. Anyway, so he theoretically has at least 6 strength 8 attacks against a character, and that can rapidly go up to more. So, and then I have a Duke. This is my babysitter Duke. You gotta have a babysitter Duke because when you bring lots of peasants, which is what I like to bring. So this is my babysitter Duke. He's got Destiny's Call. He has a shield, even though it doesn't add to his armor. I take that because of parry. He's got a hand weapon for parry with Tristan's Resolve, so he can break magic weapons. Crown of Autocracy, just to give him Discipline 10. And then Humility. A lot of people don't know what humility is because they don't use it. Humility is a virtue, and it allows my Duke to not only... He has commanding presence and rally around the flag 12 inches with humility. So he counts as a general and a BSB with discipline 10, but that can only be applied to units that are insignificant, which are, of course, my peasants in the list. So I have a dedicated general BSB just for the peasants, and then I have, of course, my first Duke, which is mounted is my general for the knights, and then I have a paladin who's my BSB, who's a BSB for the non-peasants, though he can be used for the peasants as well. He's got Ghostly Guard, Piety, Questing Oath, and Bastard Sword because he goes in my Forlorn unit. He's on foot. I take Piety because if I put him on foot with Piety and the Forlorns, that means the Forlorns always have um, a 5-up Aegis. All right, because I don't take an all-night list, I don't want to have to pray necessarily, and so if I put Piety in the Forlorns, I don't have to pray for them, and if I take Grail Knights, they always have a 5-up Aegis regardless, so they don't have to pray, and so it makes my life a lot easier if I don't have to worry about praying. All right, and Faith and Percival, this is a new, slightly different Paladin build than I'd used before. It just gives him a +1 Aegis, so he always has a 4-up Aegis, which is nice. Then I have a Damsel Wizard Master on foot on Div. Right, you probably never saw KoE with Div before. That's what I've been using. I think it's got some effective spells for the way I've been trying to play KoE. Hasn't really worked out yet, but I am going to keep using it. And then for core, I have 9 Knights of the Realm with Standard Bearer, Stalker Standard, Musician Champion. What's this Stalker Standard? You're probably asking me, why don't I have Banner of the Last Charge? Everyone takes that. Well, I know everyone takes that, and that's part of my stubbornness. I don't like to take things that everyone takes. I think if there's something that people consider auto-include, and if 99% of the lists of that army have that thing or that specific build, then there's an issue. And so the only way I'm going to really learn how to play better is to not rely on strong units. So that's part of my problem. Partly, I just have bad lists. I refuse to use the normal powered things or the things that are considered good for the factions, and I try to make the faction work with what's bad. And then there's some things which you'll see in my deployment and play that are also poor play. So combination of the two means that I just am not doing well in ninth age, but I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to use things that aren't used, and that way when it's time for people to remake the books, I can actually step in with something to say and be like, hey, I used these bad things for 6 months, or I used, a combination of all these bad things for a year, and so I can actually say why they're bad. Because some of the other players of KoE, I know they've tried different things, but I don't know if they've tried it for more than a couple games. Um, and in my thought process, you really need to try stuff out. Like, I need to keep playing Peasants for like 30 games or more, and then I'll have a really good understanding of why peasants are bad. And I have to use them in different combinations, um, anyway, so I haven't quite found the exact list that I really like yet, that I feel in control of, but I'm working towards it. All right, and then to round out core, I have just 2 units of 45 peasant levy. I don't know if 45 is a good number. I've used them in 40. I've used multiple units of 30, which was too small for what I want to do with them. After this battle, I've now been building lists with 50 because 45 doesn't quite seem like enough. 45 actually dies pretty quickly. So I haven't found the perfect number, but I was playing with 45 for this battle. Then in special, I have 20 Knights Forlorn with Standard Bearer Banner of Roland. Now remember, they have Piety, which gives them 5-up Aegis all the time because of the BSB in their unit. And then Banner of Roland gives them an additional Aegis against shooting. So they actually have a 4-up Aegis save against shooting. Knights Forlorn are on foot, but they have a 4-up armor save. So they have 4-up armor and 4-up Aegis against shooting. What I've learned in this tournament is I need to keep using them a lot more aggressively because a lot of people don't, because of that combo, and that banner does, because it's against ranged attacks, not shooting, it's against ranged attacks. It actually works against a lot of magic. A lot of people actually have difficulty killing them before they get into combat, so I need to be more aggressive with my knights Forlorn. And then I took 5 Knights of the Grail as a bus for my Duke. I took a Treb. 27 Peasant Crusaders with the Regulary, And that's typically where I stick my my babysitter Duke and my damsel. And then I have a scorpion. So that is 4497. That's my list. Guy I played against, I don't have his point breakdown, but he had a High Prince on an Ancient Dragon. Commander BSB, Master of Conreg, with a great weapon, Book of Arcane Mastery, which was extremely annoying. Throughout the game, he would 2 dice spells, and I would need an 11 or 12 to dispel. And I was like, how are you? It just seems unfair that you should. Anyway, Book of Arcane Mastery, in combination with whatever, it was not fun to play against. Commander Queen's Companion, which I really don't like because he puts them in the Sea Guard so they can just move and fire. They get quick to fire with Queen's Companion in there. And then, of course, a Mage Edit on Pyro. 21 Spears, 28 Sea Guard, already mentioned. 5 Alien Reavers, 22 Flame Wardens, 6 Ryman Knights, and 3 Sea Guard Reapers. So, and entering this, I was like, okay, I have a lot more units. And really only his Flame Wardens can fight well. Well, nope, turns out Sea Guard actually fight really well. I've played with similar lists against similar Highborn Elves, and I obviously haven't learned my lesson yet. Yeah, so. Anyway, scenario, this was secondary objective, capture the flag, so we gotta kill each other's scoring units, and deployment, refused flank on map 14. So here, I just wanted to show you some pictures of what I have been painting. If you don't know, the way I've been playing KOE is actually, I've been building a Roman army, because I really like Roman miniatures, a lot more than medieval miniatures. Which is why I have so many peasants, because I just love the Roman legionnaires. So that's why I have a lot of foot infantry, because Roman legionnaires look really cool. So here we've got a BSB. This is what the Romans called an aquifer. Or no, that's not an aquifer. Aquilophore, something like that. This is a ballista I use for my treb. This is a senator I actually use for my damsel master of divination. Here we've got, these are my Peasant Crusaders. So Peasant Crusaders, and this is the Sacred Reculary in there. Sacred Reculary I painted as, it's 6 guys on this base, with 4 of them are carrying standards. A lot of people know about the Eagle standard that's on the BSB, but there's also an Eagle standard in the middle of the Reculary. But the Romans also used, they had other standards as well. This one is the face of the emperor. Where's the route? Okay, and then there's this one with the wreath at the top. Okay, so there's the wreath, the regular banner, like a flag, the face of the emperor, and then the eagle standard. So that's actually what Romans used, and I thought that was perfect for the Reculary, because the sacred Reculary is going to be what's most sacred. And what was most sacred to the Romans? These standards. When they carry them into battle, they were going to do everything they could to protect them. And this is the Reculary I actually painted last year, but to paint 40 Peasant Crusaders like this took me a long time. Alright, here is the actual game deployment. We did a couple drops back and forth. He got to pick the sides. He picked this side, the bottom side. Probably figuring, well, and then he put down, I think he put his reavers down. I put this big peasant block down first. Then he put down, I think he put his knights up here down. And I think I put my forlorns down. And then I think he dropped the rest, because he was pretty sure where I was going once I put my forlorns down. But I might have put my Peasant Crusaders down also. I'm not sure. Anyway, he dropped the rest, so he got first turn. So I ended up praying anyway. But I don't always pray. So this is the way he deployed, and I learned on turn 1, I found out several mistakes I made in deployment. I guess I'll go through them now. So here's my Duke that's babysitter. So I have to keep the 2 peasant blocks within 12 inches of my peasant crusaders. Um, I've thought I've learned from the past that I thought that if I had Knights of the Realm here, I could force the opponent to not get too close, and I could push up because I have a longer charge range than him. Um, and that was about it. And I decided I'd put my Forlorns next to my Crusaders. I usually put the Forlorns way on a flank, and they just don't do anything in the battle. So I decided that this game I would put them in the middle. I still didn't. I still had trouble positioning them properly. So, my thought process after seeing the dragon was, and that's partly why I didn't want to drop, is I figured my 2 counters to the dragon were my Scorpion and my Grail Knights with the Duke, right? If there's anything in my army that can handle the dragon, it's these 2 things. So once he put the dragon on this flank, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm putting my Scorpion and my Grails over here. Perfect. I figured, what do I want to treb? I really wanted to treb the Sea Guard, and I wanted to treb the Flame Wardens. I didn't want to fight the Flame Wardens at full strength. I wanted to knock off a few models. I figured if I killed a few models of Flame Wardens, my Forlorns could actually take them in a fight, which may or may not be true. I don't know. I don't play Math Hammer. That's different. I don't. I just estimated it. And I put it so close because I wanted to be able to hit on a 4. I wanted it to be short range. So Treb can fire 30 inches in short range, so he could hit everything. I thought I would force him to push back. Didn't happen. And I shouldn't have deployed the Scorpion or the Knight so close to the Dragon either. But yeah, it's really hard to use big blocks like this, and that's what I did. So he got first turn. What did he do? He moved his. I have fast cavalry because I play Sylvan Elves, and I forgot how much you can move. So he just chaffed up my Grail Knights, and then took forever positioning his dragon and reavers perfectly, just so I couldn't charge his dragon. So yeah, and I didn't know. I kind of learned at this point, when we'd already finished deploying and it was his turn, I thought his dragon, I didn't know there were different movements for the highborn dragons because I don't play them. He has an ancient dragon which is move 816. I thought all dragons had movement 714 because that's what the Sylvan elf dragon has, the forest dragon, and which I don't use anyway, but I know that it has a 714. So that's partly why I deployed so close, was because I didn't know it had a movement of 816. You may not think that's a big difference, but in my mind I would have moved a few inches back if I knew it had a movement of 816 instead of 714. That was the only reason I deployed the way I did. So already from turn 1 I knew, oh, okay, I made a big mistake. I'm going to lose everything over here. I just need to, just because I thought the dragon had a 714. So we'd already started, and I don't believe in taking things back. I believe in just playing it out, and then I'll learn my lesson. Um, so he does that, and then he just pushes up a little bit, but he stays within the ruins. He's magic and shooting. His Lane Reavers didn't do any good shooting. They bounced off of my Scorpion. But his Sea Guard and his magic did 3 wounds to my Treb. It was not good. He also, he also cast on the Peasant Crusaders, so lost some Peasant Crusaders. Alright, that's my turn. What do? I wasn't sure what to do. I contemplated pulling my Grail Knights back here, so that if he charged the bolt throw, I could countercharge. But I decided I didn't want him to be able to keep chaffing me, because I thought if I just pull back, he's just going to move forward and chaff me, and then he's going to move his dragon up, and I didn't want that. So I charged my Duke out, and I figured this way, if I charge my Duke into his Reavers, I can kill his chaff, so he won't have it the rest of the game. I then can shoot at the dragon again with the bolt. I can shoot at the dragon, maybe do some wounds, if his dragon then wants to countercharge my Duke, he can, but then my Grail Knights are set up to countercharge his dragon. So I thought that was the best play. Even though I had a bad deployment, I figured that was probably the best thing I could do at this point. I don't know. You can leave a comment. Tell me what I should have done differently. Also, tell me what I should have done differently in deployment. I feel like most of the time I deploy really poorly, and then because I have bad deployment, I play the first 3 turns really poorly because I'm just trying to get myself out of a bad situation, and that's why my games go so poorly. So don't tell me anything different to change in my list. I don't want that advice. What I do want is to know how to deploy differently. All right. Yeah. So that was his phase. Then I just push forward because I figure he's gonna shoot me with his Sea Guard. I just need to push forward. Put some pressure on him because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units really facing his spearmen are really not in a good position, I thought. So I was like, I have 5 units against his 3. I can countercharge him with multiple units and just wipe this side of the board. So I figure that's what I'm gonna do. Magic, I get scrying up. That's my big thing. With this army, I take peasants with hand weapon and shield for parry, and then I bubble scrying. Although I deployed these 2 units too far away from my mage to bubble scrying. So that was my mistake. Anyway, I should have deployed it a different way, and I didn't. That was my mistake as well. That's basically all I get off, I think. Shooting wise, my Treb actually hit his Flame Wardens, and I killed what I kill. I killed like 6 of them from the Treb shot, which I was really happy about. That was what I wanted the Treb to do, and I figured, okay, now that he's lost 6 Flame Wardens, my Knights Forlorn can take him. So I thought I was in a good position at this point. Of course, my Duke killed the Elaine Reavers, and I decided I'm just going to overrun because I was hoping to get out of the charge arc of the dragon. I thought the dragon would chase me, turn face and chase me, and he didn't. My Scorpion, I think it hit the dragon. Actually, I think he missed. I kept rolling 2s. After this turn, with all my shooting, I kept rolling 2s. So now it's his turn. What does he do? He actually charges his dragon into my Scorpion to get rid of it, and then he figures out a way he can charge it and then overrun into my Grails. I should have moved my Grails over by this rock after my Duke charged out. I don't know why I didn't. I just basically forgot. And then he charges my Duke with his spears. I think he was hoping his static combat res would help him. Plus the fact that I have a lance and I'm only strength 4 without it against regular infantry doesn't help me that much. So that was a fine move on his part, except now, well, yeah. Then he moves his mage into the Flame Wardens. I don't really like when people do that. In my mind, you should create lists with characters that go in specific units, and you should keep those characters in those units for the whole game. I don't like when people character hop. It's kind of cheesy in my mind, but this guy did it. I can't stop him because the rules say he can, but just my personal feeling. Combat, of course, he kills a Scorpion, overruns into my Grails, which means my Grails can't do anything against the dragon because I'm only strength 4. My Duke actually killed a couple, but they hold because of Steadfast. And, yeah. Then I charge. So I actually charged... What did I do? Oh, and he shot up some, yeah, we uses both throwers to shoot off some peasants and 2 of my Knights of the Realm. Then I charged. I think my thought process was his Sea Guard are going to shoot me up, so the best thing I can do is get into combat and prevent them from shooting. And I thought I charged somewhere else, but I think I failed, and I don't remember where. I think maybe I didn't. I think it was slightly too far. I felt for my Knights of the Realm to support. I really wanted my Knights of the Realm to go in as well against the Sea Guard, and it was too far for them. So then I pushed forward because I felt like I needed to support that charge. So I brought my units forward. Felt like I had my Knights of the Realm in a good position to countercharge if anything happened. And then I turned my peasants to save my Duke, which I don't know if that was the right play. Maybe I should have just pushed forwards with him and majorly outflanked his Flame Wardens. That might have made a completely different game, but we'll never know. So, and then I get off. Alright, then I get off some spells. So, um, so I think he stopped scrying. But I got Portent of Doom off. I know a lot of people don't use it, but I got Portent of Doom. So his Sea Guard now have -3 to combat res for the rest of the game because he's got 2 characters in there. So he's at -3. And I just put Guiding Lights on my peasants so that they don't flee. Alright. Combat-wise, doesn't go great. His Sea Guard hold, even though they did not get rank bonus, but I think, and then they're not steadfast either. I failed to kill a single Sea Guard from that charge with the peasants. Because I only have 11 attacks. Actually, I think he challenged me out. Yeah, he challenged me out. Or he issued a duel. He killed my champion. I don't really know why, but he did that. And then he just proceeds to kill a bunch of my unit. I didn't do a single wound to him. So even though I have a charge and ranks, and he has -3 to combat res, we just hold. I think I still lost combat. Duke and the Spearmen are still holding here. My Grails actually hold. I only lost 2 because I made a ton of 5-up Aegis saves, which saved their butts for 1 turn, which he was not expecting. I think he thought he would die and then he could turn around and charge my Duke. So I thought things were still going okay. And now his Sea Guard can't shoot, so I thought I was still doing okay. His turn, he doesn't really do that much. He moves his Flame Wardens back to give me a long charge on the Forlorns, which I hated. He kept doing this the whole game, and I could never get close enough to him. And then he also he moved his mage out, which again I also find kind of cheesy. So he moved his mage out to target my Dreb. Shooting wise, what did they do? So yeah, with magic, he took out my Dreb. And combat wise, the Sea Guard destroyed my peasants and they broke. Again, I failed to kill a single Sea Guard person model. His dragon did kill my Grails and turns around, so now I'm in big trouble. And of course, because my peasants now broke and fled, they've chaffed up my knights, which I did not see coming. I did not think about that. I didn't think they would break because I had 40 peasants when I charged in, and now I'm down to 7. So, and it's only on turn 3, right? That's how quickly peasants die. So now on my turn, I charge my peasants into the spears to save my Duke, because I know I have to break that spear unit so my Duke can get out of there or that dragon's going to eat him. And I feel like I'm like, I just need to push forward. I can't charge with my knights because I'm chaffed. So I have to wait for them to panic. And they panic through. And then I move. And then I just push forward. Also, oh, that's right. My Forlorns declared a charge on the Wardens. I think it was 10 inches. I think I needed a 10 because I have movement 4. So something like 14 inches away. I needed a 10, which is highly unlikely that I would get it. He still fled. So he fled, and that was right. So because my forlorns failed the charge because he fled, I wasn't gonna get there even if he didn't flee. Um, I felt like I had to push up with my peasants, crusaders, and knights of the realm to support the failed charge of the forlorns. I don't know if I should have. Maybe I shouldn't have charged at all. Maybe I should have just pushed my forlorns up really close, but that's what I did. Okay. Um, my peasant crusaders in the flank do make it so that the spearmen break. I then opted to pursue with my duke to get him out of there, and then I simply did a pivot with my peasants to face the dragon. And I tried to make it so that if I thought it was too far for the dragon to get to my duke, so I thought if he flew down here, my peasants could charge him. So I thought I had him in a good position. I think I actually should have pivoted this way to face the mage. And that's what I did wrong on this turn. I should have just pivoted him this way and just let the dragon charge me in the rear. I guess it didn't really matter. His turn. Okay, so that's actually the way I pivoted it. You can see the way I pivot. Whichever. His turn. His Knights of the Rima go into my realms. I just moved my realms up to protect my flank because I did not want his Rima Knights on my flanks. So my realms did their job. They prevented the Rima Knights from getting under my flank. His dragon goes into the front of my peasants. And this is actually really funny. He was really upset. He rallies his flame wardens. He moves his mage up to chaff me, which was super annoying. And then this was really funny. He had all three bolt throwers shoot at me. He missed with one. I think he hit with two. And then I rolled a 5-up Aegis to save both of them. Because all it takes is one wound from him, and he does D3 wounds, and he'll kill me. Right? I rolled 5-up Aegis saves. So that was funny. He was really upset. Next turn, because I lost my knights broke from combat, I figure I'm just gonna go in, you know. So my peasant crusaders go into them. I figure I've got impact hits from the Reculary. I've got my duke, who's a lot better at fighting than my peasants were. I thought maybe my duke could grind through the Sea Guard. And then I put my forlorns into the mage because I was just tired of that mage who was killing stuff with pyro. So I charged them. And I must have. Oh, I know. My peasant crusaders charged the flame wardens. He did cover fire with the sea guard. And then he fled with the wardens. So then I had a choice. I had to either pursue the flame wardens, which I was not going to catch, and then be flank charged, or I had to charge into the Sea Guard. And I opted to charge into the Sea Guard. I don't know. This was kind of a bad turn. This is pretty much the end of the game, honestly. So yeah, on this turn. Oh, so right. And then I don't know what I did with my Duke. I think I moved him up to here in the cornfield to pressure his flame wardens. But on his turn, so I moved my Duke up. Actually, I don't think I did. I think I just turned I don't know what I was doing with my Duke. I was keeping my Duke within range of the peasants for leadership. Because I knew I needed the leadership here. Oh, I know what I did. My bad. I moved my Duke back here in the water. That way, I moved him in a way that he provided leadership for the peasants. He was too far away now from this one, so he only had 2 bolt throwers instead of 3 that could shoot at me. And then if my peasants held for one more turn, my Duke could charge his dragon in the rear and possibly kill him. So I thought I actually moved really well. I moved him over here. It was accomplishing several things. On his turn, his two bolt throwers, maybe it was his first one. He shot me, he hit me. I failed to roll the 5 up, and he killed me. So there goes that plan. And my Crusaders had done nothing in combat. He must have killed my Duke, and I don't remember how. But my Duke had a 4 Aegis, and he somehow died. So all I had is the Regulary. He killed all the peasants, and he killed my Duke. Yeah, he somehow killed my Duke. And yeah, I failed on my 4-up Aegis and my 4-up armor. Well, I didn't have 4-up armor because I charged spears, so I just had the 4-up Aegis. And I failed those, so he died. And so all I had is the Regulary fleeing. And at this point, oh, I did 2 wounds to her. I failed to kill her because I issued I tried to kill her with my BSB and that didn't work. I only did 2 wounds to her because a paladin only has 3 attacks. So I did 2 wounds on 3 attacks. And then she broke from combat. But then, of course, she rallied on his turn. And now I'm facing this way, going to be charged by everything. So on my turn, what do? I think I actually charged her and killed her just to get some points. And then I just reformed to face the music. I rallied the Regulary because it actually has a leader's discipline of 8. I faced it this way so that if he charged me, I could charge in the back. My peasants broke because now they're only discipline 5 without my Duke. Although somehow I got a wound through, which was funny. He charges with everything into my Forlorns, uses his bolt throwers to shoot my Regulary, and these 3 units in the 2 units in the front and the dragon in the rear just completely ate my Forlorn unit, and then we called it because there's no point for me to play a turn 6. I could have charged my Regulary. I thought he might have killed it. Even if I charged it into the rear, it wasn't gonna do diddly. So we called it. Yeah, that was it. So there we go. It was an 020 to Rasmus again. I thought it was a very good list from Rasmus. My thoughts on Highborn Elves. I think that Seaguard are way underpriced for what they do. I think the big issue and why I have difficulty playing against them is the fact that they are good at ranged and good in combat. I know they're only strength 3, but he had access to Awaken the Beast, and he had ways to make them higher strength. The problem is that they have full spears, so they have bows and they have full spears. So they either need to make them cost more, or put them in special, or give them a different close combat weapon. I was thinking like a light spear, something that would have less AP, but honestly, that wouldn't really have done that much in our game. So there you have it. Another big loss for a peasant army. This is actually I think my worst Kingdom of Equitaine loss, and I actually had more knights and less peasants. So I'm actually thinking about using less knights in the future. I used to run 1 unit of knights, and in this list I used 2 units of knights. So I'm thinking of going back to just 1 unit of knights. I'm also thinking of going and using a unit of questing knights as my 1 unit because I don't know how to get charges off. I'm always being countercharged. And so if I'm always going to get charged, it's better to have questing knights because they can actually do more damage when they're being charged than any other knight unit in the book and in many knight books and many books. So there you have it. Kind of embarrassing. I honestly, on turn 1 when he was doing that stuff, moving his dragon around and chaffing me, I immediately realized my error, and I honestly didn't really want to play the rest of the game, but of course you have to play it out and see what happens. I thought I had a few chances in there. There were a few opportunities I thought that could turn the game around. I thought I had a good chance of killing his dragon, saving my peasant unit. I really thought my big peasant unit in his Sea Guard would break them. It didn't. And other things I learned, don't. Yeah, let's go look at deployment. Deployment. Okay. What I could have done after the fact, maybe would have been better for me, but a much less fun game for both of us. Um, if I'm gonna take a treb all the time, I'm highly considering just deploying in the corner like in Dwarf because I have the range advantage. There's very few things in the game that have a 60-inch range. And so, since I saw where he was deploying his guys, maybe I should have just deployed my treb and the rest of my army back here and then pulled back and just trebbed him and make him walk to me because his Sea Guard can't shoot me if I deploy back. His bolt throwers have 48-inch range, but if I deploy back, I can actually make it so that they wouldn't really be able to hit me either, and he can't move them. I can basically invalidate his whole army. So in the future with KOE, I'm highly considering just going into the corner with a Treb and a Scorpion, um, having a front line of a lot of infantry, having one or two knight units on the flank, so when he does get close, I can countercharge. And I know it's boring, but it'll probably get me higher scores than what I've been getting with KOE. So there you have it. Peasants and units of 45 aren't enough against Sea Guard. And but they did do their job against the spears, so that was good. But honestly, if I had a unit of 30 peasants instead of 45, a unit of 30 peasants on the flank of these spears still would have broken them on that turn 4 or whatever. So I'm thinking about going with one really big unit of peasants, like 60, and putting the regulary in there, so it's huge, and then just using smaller units of 30 to try to outflank, because a unit of 30 on the flank will actually do something. Units of 45 on the front don't actually do anything in my experience. They die too quickly. I've lost as many as, I think I was losing 10 a turn in combat, and I've lost as much as 15 from a spell or from shooting. It's not fun. So there you have it. That was my game. Hope you enjoyed this battle report. Um, and I'm going to keep painting my guys. Right now I am actually working on knights. I've assembled 2 Roman knight units. One of them I'm going to use as probably questing knights, and the other ones I'm going to use as realm knights. And that's my next painting project, I think. And that's it. So hope your summers are going well, or whenever you're listening to this. And I hope that you're having fun playing Ninth Age. If you don't know what Ninth Age is, and you're interested in it, go and check it out. You can just Google Ninth Age, go to ninthage.com and check it out. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day.